Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. I'd like to start by thanking all my subscribers, all my viewers for all the support I receive in this channel. I would love to thank my subscribers and viewers for the professional, mindful, kind comments that you leave in the comment section. I personally believe that I have the best subscribers on YouTube. The reason I say that is I'm not being prejudiced, but my subscribers are really mindful, very professional. We have decent discussions on the comment. We try to stick to the topic. We try to be professional. The reason I started this channel was for mental health awareness purposes, everything to do with mental health, from mental health illness to domestic violence victims, to missing victims, for people who do not have a voice of their own, that are seeking justice, and to spread positive awareness. In this channel, we try to stay away from rumors, speculations that just adds fuel to the fire. What we try to do is go down and break down through the timelines of these vulnerable, important cases. And we are human beings. We are going to speculate now and then. Nobody's perfect. But we try to do this at the minimum, because we do not want to be ruining important cases that are active to start with. We are not the professionals, we are not law enforcement, and we are not the law enforcement who are active on these cases. That is the reason we try to stick to the facts. We have to keep our boundaries, our dignity. We have to try and be positive towards each other and go according to the timeline and the updates from the professional news channels, the legit news channels, and especially law enforcement that are dealing with the case. I would love to discuss or talk a bit about the important active case that has shocked us all, that has literally horrified everyone who's heard about this case. This is the case of the 4 students that were murdered in Idaho, Moscow. This happened on the 13th of November. It happened around between 3 to 4 at night. It could be even maybe between 3 to 6 in the morning, because the timelines keep on changing. And obviously, law enforcement are not going to give us every detail, because I do respect that and I understand that they have to keep most of their details to themselves and to the law enforcement who are handling the case. The reason that is because they still haven't found the killer or the killers. Until they do that, they cannot let out a lot of information, because that is just going to cause fuel to the fire. That's, in fact, letting the suspect know all that he should have been doing, so that he doesn't change his timeline, so that when they take him to court, hopefully, when they arrest him, that he knows that law enforcement have him on solid evidence. Because this is not just about catching a killer and arresting him. There's always the court, grand juries, and other courts that the killer, if he's caught, and if he's caught alive, trigger warning, that he would have to face. So I do understand law enforcement. To start with, I would really love to send my respect, my prayers, and my positive, positive and mindful messages out to Moscow, Idaho law enforcement, out to Idaho state law enforcement, to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that's the FBI, and to all the law enforcement and the legit media that are covering this case. It is an active case. It is literally a case that can run emotions all over the place because there's so much speculation going on. After that, I would love to pay my deepest condolence to the parents, siblings, family of Zana Konodal, who was 20 years old, who was one of the victims, one of the 4 victims. I'd love to pay my condolence to Kaylee Congalvis, his family, parents, siblings that are suffering through a lot. And I would love to pay my condolence to Ethan Chapin, his family, his mother, father, his brother, his sister, and all the people that loved and adored him. And finally, I'd love to pay my condolence to Maddie, Morgan, his parents, stepfather, father, mother, any siblings, any cousins, and all the families that were close to her and friends. These were 4 precious souls that were taken from us too soon. 21 and 20 years old is just when you start your young adulthood life. That is when you have all your dreams. That's when you have all your focus mostly on your education, your future life. Just coming to college and studying in college is a big step that these students have been taking. They were looking forward to going separate ways in their life, studying. I believe 2 of them were freshmen, and Kaylee Congalvis was supposed to get graduated a couple of days ago. This is really heartbreaking for the families that raised these children, gave birth to these children, looked after them, paid so much for their tuition fees, for everything in their life, so that the children could have a bright future ahead. Just like we all parents in the world want our children, want our family children, whether it's our nephews, nieces, friends' children, other students, neighbors. We want children in general and young youths and everyone to succeed. These 4 students were working hard so that they could achieve their goals and dreams. But on the 13th of November, Saturday night going to Sunday morning, between the hours of 3 to 5, I believe 6, like law enforcement said, these children's lives were taken from them too soon. They died in a horrific murder, and law enforcement are still trying to go through leads, tips, DNA, forensic, timelines, witness interviews, and everything they can so that they can get justice for these students. Besides getting justice for these students, the main thing is there's a killer on the loose, which we can imagine is just tearing up people's anxiety, giving them anxiety, PSCD, PTSD, I mean, sorry, giving them depression, paranoia. Imagine looking behind your back 24/7, not knowing if you're going to be next. I hope that this case gets solved quickly, and I hope that this killer or killers are arrested safely without hurting anyone, without without causing any more victims. I really am praying and hoping for that. This happened on Saturday, like I said, on the 13th, going on the 14th. These 4 students were out, like college students usually do. Maddie and Kaylee were friends from a very young age. They've gone to the same high school, college. They grew up together. Maddie used to go along with Kaylee's friends and family on holidays. These were really two friends that did everything together. So these 2 young girls, Kaylee and Maddie, went out to a nightclub called the Corner Club in Idaho, Moscow, and there was it called the Twitch camera or surveillance, the live stream that we saw them ordering food from the food truck. They were there around 10 minutes. They went home. They had a ride from a private Uber company or from a private chauffeur company. We saw the minute they walked in that there was this young man who was a college student too, I believe, who walked right behind them or walked right next to them. At the start, it did actually look like that the guy was with them. But at the same time, most of us did get some funny vibes with this guy. It seemed like he said that he was there protecting them, but usually when you are protecting someone, the person you are protecting should have the knowledge that you're protecting them. The person that you are protecting should be wanting your protection. So it did not look like, according to the behavior and according to what we seem to be hearing, it didn't seem like he was there by the girl's will. It looked like more like he was stalking them, to be honest, following them. And this is my personal meaning. It looked like the girls were trying to get as far as away from him as possible. We saw clearly when they got their food, they just legged it. They ran away quickly. I believe we didn't hear that in the stream, in the live stream, but according to Joe, who was the guy who was standing and talking to this young man with the brown jacket, the cap, and the hoodie, he said that the young man told him that he was protecting the girls. We could actually see Maddie even cussing him, saying 2 words that starts with F. So it looks like these girls wasn't satisfied with him being around there. The minute he saw that these girls ran away and left without him, you could see that he was kind of upset and he went straight down. If these girls were with this guy and if they were willingly with him, obviously you would have seen them ordering food for him. You would have seen them having a conversation with him, but nothing of that sort was happening. What I could clearly see personally, this is for speculation, not speculation only, this is for entertainment purpose only. I personally could see that this young man was trying to dodge the camera from the very start. It was clear to see that. Although it was a long stream, live stream, the Twitch, you could see things like he put on his cap and then he put on his cap trying to hide his eyes, trying to hide his face structure, and he put on the hoodie, the white hoodie on top of the cap. At the same time, he put on the brown jacket properly. He had on white trainers. He had a black jeans pant on, a grey hoodie, a white hoodie, and a black cap. You could see that he was trying to actually avoid the cameras, to be honest. He kept on stepping a bit behind so the camera couldn't catch him properly. And I personally believe that wasn't just a coincidence. He was doing it for a purpose. Because obviously, when you go to a certain place and then you start acting all different, fixing yourself, trying to hide your eyes, your face, and everything, that just proves only one thing. That proves that you're up to no good. That's my personal opinion about that. We saw that Maddie and Kaylee had a couple of drinks. Obviously, they went to a corner club. These are college students, and college students do enjoy their weekends and some weekdays and just go out and party. That's part of the college life. So these girls walked away a distance from him. They went to their car, and allegedly, according to the timeline of law enforcement, Moscow law enforcement, they went home. The other thing that I noticed about this guy that was a red flag for me from the very first day is that he did not order any food. Even if you're following these girls and you said that you're protecting them, he's had a couple of drinks, it depends how much. But allegedly, we heard that he was in the club too. And like he was asked to leave or he was kicked out. That is just a rumor. So we don't know really what's a rumor and what is the facts here. But nobody goes to a club and just sits usually in that age and just sits and has coffee or tea or Coca-Cola, to put it that way, a fizzy drink. They usually do go out to drink, listen to the music, socialize with each other, and party. So what I noticed is that he did not order food, and it's kind of difficult for me to understand. Maybe he wasn't hungry, but usually people do intend to eat after they've had a night of heavy drinking. You could see clearly that Maddie was intoxicated. You could see the balance, the way she was standing. She wasn't very firm on her balance. I really respect the dead, may God bless them, but these are important things to talk about so that we can try and analyze a picture of what really happened. These girls ended up going home without this guy. We saw him going straight down. Another thing I want to point out, which is I believe really important, is I was noticing this from day one, but I was just waiting for this case to develop. I don't want to speak too much on it since I don't have the facts, and I've hardly heard many people speak about this. If you notice, as a cognitive behavior therapist, I usually look into people's behavior, and active listening is important. Listen to what they say, obviously. What I noticed from the start with this guy is his pocket was bulging out, kind of. It looked like he had something in his pocket. And I'm not talking about like a mobile device, a phone device, or something, or a packet of cigarettes. It didn't look anything like that. It looked like he had something that was bigger than these devices. So my concern is, did he already, just speculation, guys, could he have had a weapon? And you'll need to zoom in that picture when he's wearing the brown jacket, and you see he has something literally that is long. It's not a short item, it's not a small item. So maybe I think too much, but I was just trying to check if that was a knife, and I hope law enforcement caught on to that. He left, and it seemed kind of like you could see him waving his hand like towards them, Like he was upset, obviously. So the question is, what was this guy's intention the whole night? Was he out there to pick the girls? Did he notice that the girls were very intoxicated? And maybe he was interested in one of them, so he thought of following them home. I wonder if he was a person who was already who has already been to the girls' house in Kings Road. Because this is important to know if this guy had access to the house. Then the girls went home. According to law enforcement, Kaylee called her ex-boyfriend Jack D. She called him 6 to 7 times without him picking up. There was no answer. But you can imagine this is late at night, so I wouldn't assume that everyone is awake that late. Maybe Jack just had an early night and did not go out. But then I find that kind of a bit weird because allegedly there was a lot of parties, a lot of partying going on in these neighborhoods near the campus, and Jack just lives, I believe, 3 minutes away from the girls. So I wonder if Jack just had an early night, or if Jack was ignoring their calls on purpose, or was Jack maybe trying to find an alibi if he was involved allegedly in any of this. So the girls called Jack 6 to 7 times. That's Kaylee. And then the last 3 calls went from Kaylee's best friend, God rest his soul, Maddie Morgan, to Maddie Morgan to Jackie's phone. So I find that to be a bit interesting to find out what was the reason that they were calling Jack so late and so many times. We know, going back to this case, we're learning now that Kaylee was actually graduating. So Kaylee had plans in the future. She's a pretty young girl, very intelligent, look like. She finished her education that she worked hard for. She bought herself a Land Rover of, I believe, $23,000. And that's quite a lot of money for a 20-year-old girl, 21-year-old girl. But definitely she has a family who love her. There's all kind of means of getting expensive car. If you have a good credit, you can always get a car in installments and pay for the car. So I wouldn't be surprised that she got help from her parents, from her family. And we know that these girls used to work part-time. At least Maddie used to work part-time. Kaylee used to work part-time. Xana used to work part-time, that we're aware of. So they had, obviously, the means of treating themselves with a good car. They must be getting student finances, so whatsoever. But then I believe that was her car. So Kaylee clearly told her father and her brother and mother and sister that she was going to show off her car to her best friend Maddie. Like I said, she and Maddie used to do everything together. And she wanted to show it to some other friends. Then Kaylee was supposed to move to Texas, like we're aware of. She had a job waiting for her, an apprenticeship or something. She had a job waiting for her in Texas, and her plan was to move further to Europe and do a tour in Europe, which is kind of very interesting. I find that interesting because right today I'm in Germany. I live in the United Kingdom's London, but I've come on a short trip, 10 days through Germany. It's a beautiful city, beautiful country. And I just came to visit my family. I came with actually my 18-year-old son and my brother who works hard. He's a manager. So he's got his Christmas holidays a bit early. So we just came to visit family, do shopping, stay here a bit and all. And what I'm trying to say about that is I feel so sorry for Kaylee. I'm sure she'd have loved countries like United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, France. I grew up for 23 years in Norway. That's near Sweden, Scandinavia. So I've been to mostly all the European countries, and I find them, it's just different cultures, different people, a lot of museums, a lot of beautiful things and beautiful places to go on tourism and watch things. So I'm sure Kaylee's plan was to go to the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, France. I'm sure definitely those are big places in Europe, very interesting places too. So coming back to Kaylee, Kaylee was not selling, she bought herself a car, and she's moving to Texas. Kaylee had a dog, or has a dog, had a dog, but the dog is still alive, thank God. Murphy. Murphy was her dog, and Jack T, her childhood sweetheart, that they broke up basically. But according to Kaylee's mother and father, sister, they're very protective over Jack, and they mentioned that many times that they believe that they're 2000% sure that Jack couldn't have done it. And I respect that. They know Jack and they know their doctor better than us, but I still believe there's so much that we parents don't know about our children's life. What they do, who they date, who they break up with. They tell us usually quite a lot. I'm close to my daughter, who is 26, going on 27, or has become 27 years old. I'm very close to her, but then I wouldn't assume that my daughter would tell me each and everything. Obviously, in that age, they find us parents to be annoying and they want to have their own life. They want to spread their wings, which they're entitled to. So, what I'm trying to say is, even law enforcement, I read it, I've been reading every day to see if there's literally new updates. And I just don't like to come on and make a clip and just repeat the same things that we are aware of. Unless there's something literally a breaking news that changes the case in another direction. So coming back to Kaylee and Jack's relationship, they were on a temporary break. The relationship was on hold. The question I believe is important is who broke up with who. We've heard from Kaylee's family that it was Kaylee who wanted to take a break. It depends. It's only Kaylee, God bless her soul, who would know why she took a break. Was it that they were just maneuvering on in life? Was it just that Kaylee wanted to end this relationship since she's moving? And since Jack would have been still in his college. Could it be that Kaylee saw signs and behavior of allegedly Jack that she must have not liked? That is very possible, because in a couple of years relationship, things can change. The person can be more bossy, the person can be a control freak, the person can be more demanding. It could be a challenge for a relationship. Or could it have just been that Kaylee wanted to break? I wanted to try taking a break. Or maybe did Kaylee find someone else? But they shared a dog together, and we saw that Kaylee called Jack 6 times before this murder happened, and Maddie called Jack thrice. So I wonder, what is Jack's alibi without blaming him? I find that actually to be interesting, because this is one of the last persons their phones went out to. So could it have been that they saw somebody coming to the house or standing outside, like the guy, just speculation, like the guy in the food truck, and maybe they wanted to call Jack because Jack doesn't live far away from them, to tell Jack, come, we don't feel safe, come help us get rid of this guy, come have a talk with him. Or could it be that, this is my speculation, or could it be that the girls saw somebody that looked like Jack and they wanted to confirm with Jack, is it you? Why are you stalking us? Or didn't we tell you not to contact us again? Something was definitely not right for them to be calling Jack. Whether it was a SO, save our souls kind of call to Jack, or was it Jack, God forbid, who could have been calling the girls? Just say if Jack came to their house and if he was involved in this crime, you could have called from their phone to his phone just to get a timeline accurate and say, you see, they called me. So at that timing, they were the ones calling me, but I was asleep. So anything is possible. This is just a speculation, but it is an interesting question, I believe, that we need to ask ourselves. Because this random killing couldn't have just happened unless it was a stalker like Ted Bundy, or unless it was a very sick person who has antisocial personality disorder, who has no fear, no emotions, no remorse, which clearly this killer did not have any of it. Killing 4 people brutally in that way just shows that this is a person who is willing to take a high risk offense. He wasn't bothered. This is a high risk crime. Imagine trying to do this and not knowing if there are 4 victims in the house. Each one could have had a partner or a friend there. There were 6 people living in the house. There were 5 people living in the house. It was 18 who was there with his girlfriend Zana. That makes it 6 people in the house. They all could have been having a party that night, because it is known that this house was a gathering house, that college students used to all come and sit and hang around there and party around there. So that's the reason I believe that whether this person knew them or not, he was stalking them at least that night. He must have been watching their movements, knowing that who comes in, who goes out, from what entrance do they come in, what entrance do they leave. He could have checked the codes of the people using, how they come inside the house. Honestly, he could be a hacker and been watching how to use those codes. Anything is possible. It could be someone who lives not far from them, could have been following their whereabouts, watching Kaylee walk her dog often. And now I do understand. I've always said I understood why law enforcement said this was a targeted attack. Because I believe it was someone who was out for either 1, 2, or 4 of the victims. It could have been somebody who was stalking Xana and did not like the fact that Ethan was around. So that could have been the motive, jealousy and hate and rage. It could have been somebody who was stalking Maddie on social media. It could have been somebody who was stalking Kaylee. Then you have this other way of thinking. Not only if it's a stalker, that is definitely something that we've all been thinking about. There is a killer on the loose. And the stalker doesn't necessarily mean that law enforcement said that Kaylee had a stalker and they checked and it was true, guys, and they're confirmed and they're fine. Kaylee could have definitely had other stalkers. These are 3 young, beautiful women and a handsome boy. Any of the 4 victims could have had stalkers, but I don't believe that the stalker was out for these other 2 roommates. I've heard people saying that their doors were locked and all. Could be possible. But this guy doesn't seem to have a problem. He could have kicked in their door. He could have done something else if he really wanted them. Because this is somebody who was stalking the house. So the girls, apparently, the other 2 surviving roommates came home at 1 o'clock. You could have followed them in there if you wanted to get rid of them and then waited for the others to come. I personally believe that this stalker was actually waiting inside the house before Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie came home. Because it would be much more easier if the person was waiting already inside the house. You want to avoid anyone noticing that you're coming in. If you think of a mind of a stalker, a mind of a person who's breaking into your house, it's always, I believe, easier to break into someone's house when nobody's there, or come into the house and wait for, if you're a horrible person, wait to do the killings later. Because it would have attracted too much noise if the person came in later and then it would have been just one call to law enforcement. We don't know what exactly happened that night, but I believe the motive has to be rage, hate, jealousy. Someone was upset that they were not getting what they want. It could be someone, I personally believe, if I look at it in the mental health perspective, could have been an antisocial personality disorder person or sociopath or psychopath. Could have been a person who doesn't take no for an answer, who felt humiliated, or who felt really turned down and must have felt that the other roommates or the witness or were laughing or were making rumors about him. Just a speculation. It was someone who literally wanted to make a point by killing 4 people so brutally. And we're not blind, obviously. We didn't see the crime pictures, but we did see, trigger warning, we did see blood on the walls and all. So this was someone who had hate, rage. And the reason I say it could be an antisocial personality disorder is because they don't have remorse. They don't have empathy. To have remorse, you have to have empathy. To understand what you have done, you have to be accepting. But then when you don't care and you don't have empathy and remorse, that makes it very difficult. That makes it easier for someone to do a horrific crime like this. But this one was somebody who was bold. So I wonder if this is a copycat of a serial killer. Is this someone who used to research a lot of serial killers? Is this someone who wants to make a name for themselves? It could be possible. Or was this somebody who just came to the house, maybe wanted one of these girls and kept on begging them to talk to him, and she must have said leave and all, and then he must have he must have been on drugs, on alcohol, and just started deciding to go wild, and maybe, just say maybe, the other couples and the other people interfere, and then he managed to take out his rage and kill all of them, because I really believe whoever he was targeting, whichever 2 of them, because we know that Kaylee and her best friend Maddie slept in the same bed in Maddie's room. So if they were, for the killer to have gone both to the 2nd and 3rd floor, it could be possible that he was out for one of the girls in the 3rd floor, Kaylee or Maddie, and when he went there and finished doing, God forbid, what he was doing, and when he was coming down, maybe Ethan went to get a glass of water, and he came from behind, killed him, went to Xana, and killed her too, because he doesn't want any witness to identify him. He could have even tried to go downstairs and check on the other 2 surviving victims, but he was thinking no harm done there. They don't know. Their doors are locked. So maybe he thought, there's no point of killing them. They haven't seen my face. Coming back to my theory is it's either serial killer on the loose, a random serial killer, which I find it a bit difficult to believe, because I personally believe this is somebody who knew the layouts of the house, whether it was a plumber, whether it's a carpenter, whether it was somebody changing the floors, whether it was someone fixing the plumbs, the pipes and all, in the kitchen, in the toilet, if it was somebody who came and made a door, fixed a door or fixed locks in the house. So I would have said, I hope law enforcement has checked on all the contractors and all the handymen who've done any job in this house. It's important. We heard that the Uber driver, the guy who was stalking them in the food truck, and Jack, we heard that those 3, and the 2 roommates, surviving roommates, and the friends that came and called law enforcement when this happened, we heard that they all are ruled out. But then I've read it in the professional news today even, that law enforcement said just because you're ruled out doesn't mean, it just says for the timing you're not a person of interest, but things can change very quickly. And we've seen that in many cases. Just because you're ruled out, it doesn't mean that you're not part of it. I think it takes time to get the forensic reports done. It takes time to get all the results. then they need to find out. Like that's the reason the FBI behavior analyst unit is there, to try and find a profile or make a profile of who would do such an evil thing to four innocent victims. And I find it strange. I find another red flag that Kaylee was moving. And she came to say her farewells to her friends. So could it be somebody who was jealous of her, who knew that now she's gone, I will never have her back as a girlfriend or as a friend? Was it somebody who was jealous of these girls? Was it somebody who was jealous of Ethan? Was it somebody who took his jealousy and rage just too far? Is this a person who is a psychopath? I hate to say that word, antisocial personality disorder, because this person doesn't have any empathy or remorse. Finally, I hope that everyone in the students in Idaho, Moscow, and the community of Moscow are keeping themselves safe. I hope if anyone has any even little thing that they believe they saw that night, that they contact the FBI and law enforcement. These four students need justice, and we have a kill out on the loose, which is really dangerous for any student. This is a person who took four people's lives within a couple of hours or within a couple of minutes. So we don't want somebody else, an innocent victim, to pay the price. I hope the community stick together like law enforcement said. I hope these young girls, even young boys, are not going by themselves and they're going out in groups. Because some people with a sick, twisted mind, the killer could be just watching from home, being in social media, being in the chats, actually even calling phone calls on the chats, trying to figure out who knows what about this case so that he can change his tactics, his timeline. Maybe this is a person who just wants to put the fear out there and believes, if I got away with 4, why can't I do more killings? So this person needs to come in. This person needs to be caught immediately, ASAP. I don't mean this person needs to be caught now. I mean this person should have been caught yesterday, day before yesterday, 3 weeks ago, on the Saturday of 13th November when it happened, because this is dangerous. I do understand that this community and state of Moscow, Idaho, are trying to keep this in control because obviously they don't want to lose future children. I've researched that campus and I'm telling you, the college makes millions, the city makes millions on these students. They're kind of like the residents too. They bring all the income, their parents' money brings all the incomes into that college, to that university campus. So I hope the college, I hope as many as students who can study from home do that. I would have done that if those were my children, because you never know. The place is just, law enforcement can't be everywhere in every second, in every time. And the last bit that I forgot is the Hyundai, the white Honda that has been seen. I believe it's a car make model from 2015, 16, I'm not sure, or 13. And it was seen around those times, allegedly, around the houses of the 4 innocent victims. I don't believe personally that this person came by a car. I believe this person could have had easier chances of walking away and running away from this crime by doing it on foot. Because cars would actually put you into a bigger jeopardy. They know that cameras can track cars, the mileage you've used in the car, everything could be turned on you. So I believe this was a person who I don't know, I've been watching too many movies, but I believe this is a person who had on a proper face mask, black clothes, definitely, because you want to keep yourself in the pitch black night. You want to wear everything black so that you don't get caught. This is a person who could have been waiting in the bushes and all before attacking these poor students. And I believe the person was eating inside the house. Let's not forget there's one room upstairs that is empty. He could have just been sitting there in the dark. What is another red flag is that the dog did not bark. Even if the dog was sleeping in the other room in the darkness, the dog would have heard the screams of these four people being brutally murdered. The dog would have barked, but I believe this is somebody who knew the dog, who took the dog and put the dog in the other room. He could have even just given the dog a bit drugs to sleep it off while he was doing whatever he came to do. I believe it is one single person, but it's very possible it could be two. That's the reason I always say not only a killer, allegedly maybe killers even. So I really hope they come to the bottom of this. I feel sorry for all these parents. I heard Kaylee, his father and mother, saying that they're not going to do a funeral until the guy is caught. But I would maybe, I don't know why, I just thought of that many times. Why doesn't the family just do a fake funeral, if it makes sense? Like, just shake. Because obviously I heard they're cremated. So if that is the case, they should just do a fake funeral without the young people is ashes or bodies, just to see who comes from far, from a distance, to pay their respects, or who's watching. I would have done that. But the young students should all, especially girls and boys, should stay away from alleyways, shouldn't go out at night, because I don't want to hear a next victim. I believe this person is antisocial personality disorder, and these people have no remorse and empathy, most of them. And they would just wait. They love playing hide and seek. And now that they've seen it's a month is gone, the killer could have gone a long time ago, because many students went home after these killings. Anyway, guys, please let me know all your theories, what you all believe could have happened. And as usual, I don't even have to say that. Let's be kind to each other. Let's be mindful about our comments. Let's be professional about our comments, because we should always remember the four innocent victims who lost their life so tragically in such a horrific way, and their parents, their siblings, their loved ones are grieving. And my last point is, I'm sure that you all have heard it's been debunked. I don't want to even say the YouTuber's name. It starts with JM, who came out with this fake edited video allegedly saying that the girls were crying. Stop it. Leave me alone. And then we heard that it was all fake. That is really a tragedy if that is the case. How heartless can a person be doing this to families who are already suffering? I hope people stop taking their speculations and lying and making up stories and making even clips that the girls were yelling for help if it wasn't the real thing. This has happened to a lot of time in Gabby Petito, God bless her soul, and Brian's case, and that is not good. These are four innocent victims who lost their life, and a killer is still out on the loose who could hurt more innocent victims. So that is the most important thing. That's we say on YouTube. We need to have boundaries. We need to be professional. We need to be mindful. We need to remember that there are parents grieving. This has just been 3.5 weeks. We do not need to put out things there that isn't legit, that isn't true, just to gain subscribers and views, because it'll make this difficult for law enforcement to get in the right culprit. They can get the wrong one, and the right culprit could actually go and do more killings. So this is about human lives. And I'm going to say out the name Joseph Morris. Please have self-respect, have self-dignity, and think what you're doing, because these parents need the justice, and these students do not need to live in fear. You've done that with Gabby's case before, And this is not right. This is not the time. This is not the place. And we need to really wrap these families around our arms, give them a virtual hug, respect them, support them, because this is really tough what they're going through. People lose children and it's sad. We shouldn't have to bury our children before us. But it's even more sad when the children, young people, his life was taken away in such a horrific manner. So justice has to be served, and the person who is doing that needs to be caught ASAP, immediately. So Joseph, you're just making this into your ego. Just like Bullhorn Betty and Dolly Vision and Olivia and Justice for All and MGL and all of that. Let's not use these people's cases and these children, missing children's cases for our own advantage, to get views and to get subscribers and to be paid. That is really wrong. I believe there's a here and now and afterlife to deal with. God doesn't like evil. So let's not do that to other parents who are suffering. Let us support them. That is the reason I opened this channel, to make sure that these parents, grieving parents, do not become victims in the process of burying their own victims. Anyway, guys, have a lovely, lovely day. Want to wish everyone a blessed December. Look after yourselves. Look after young ones. And the students of Idaho, stay safe. Do not go out late. Try and get everything you need in the daytime. As a group, study as much as you can from home. It's better to miss some classes than to lose your life, because we have a sick person out there. Please take care, guys, and please help me by liking, subscribing, and all the goodies, because I need these likes and subscribes so that I can spread awareness, especially for victims. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. And love, peace, and respect from Bonn, Germany, in Europe. I love Germany. It's a peaceful, beautiful place. I should be going back to London by Sunday. So I'm enjoying the peaceful German life, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful city with lovely museums, lovely restaurants. They have some of the best cafe places. Yeah, and I was just watching the football that Morocco won. And I'm proud of Morocco. Yes, Morocco. Go Morocco. We need Africans to actually go far in the football tournament. I wish all the teams left good luck. And I wish everyone a lovely, lovely holiday season. Take care. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Bye.